Thank you for clicking on this video, and welcome to the Kingdom Within podcast. I am your host, David Forshee, and today we'll be taking a look within humility. Now, I don't think that, I need to give you guys a definition of what it means to be humble, but this is a common theme that runs across all religions, um, philosophies, and just kind of wise um people, that's why is it so important to be humble, and what does that mean, what does it look like? But we're going to be getting into all that here um in today's episode. But before we do, if you would hit the like and subscribe button, that helps support this channel and helps get these ideas out there to as many people as it needs to. And I believe in divine providence, so you know, um, I can only do so much. Uh, and if these ideas help you in any kind of way, then um, please, uh, let's share these ideas and help out as many people as we can. But with that being said, let's get into the first thing. All right, I wanted to get the more obvious things out of the way. So, staying humble during good and bad times. Now, I think we can all kind of see where staying humble during good times, right? Times where, you receive blessings, that you found success, um, all that good stuff. And yeah, being grateful and humble during those times, yeah, it's very important, you know? Um, but what about the bad times, right? The times where you weren't successful and you failed and you're having a hard time. I think it's just as important to stay humble during those times. Just knowing that you're in a process and that things take time, and that's okay. And we're going to learn and we're going to get out of this little rut, and we're going to find success because we're going to stay consistent, and we're going to keep growing and keep learning and keep doing better. And that's the actual key to success. Now, if you weren't humble during those times, and you're going through these hard times, it's hard to just stay in that same mindset. You might get out of the rut still, but um, it makes the hard times harder. You know, and it's kind of like this YouTube channel, you know. Um, I've had hard times, with it. This is something that I've always known that I wanted to do, but um, it took time to learn exactly what it was, and how to do it, and I'm still learning, and I found a little success, um, and I got some things coming up, but it's all a learning process, and keeping that mindset helps me keep going without wanting to give up, knowing that regardless of the peaks and the valleys, that this is something that I actually love doing. So, I mean, I take it all with a grain of salt. And, um, when my blessings come, I try to learn from that. And when I feel like I'm being cursed, I try to learn from that too. And just trying to see where I can improve, you know. Um, and that's all that we really can do. So, um, the next thing that I wanted to really touch base on, I think that Um, when I think of humility, that I think is kind of obvious is staying receptive, right? Your willingness to be taught, your willingness to be corrected, our willingness to depend on the Lord instead of our control. And I think that, we're all kind of children of God, right? Or children of light, however you want to say it. We're spiritual beings at our core. And, sometimes we got to be corrected. We're not always doing the right things. We're not always on the right track. So staying humble helps us get back on track. You can't have such a hard outer shell that you're just willing to just, nope, this is the way it is. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know that mindset very well anymore. Um, but I think you guys get the gist. Like, you don't want to be so self-centered that you can't learn from anybody else. Like, you already know everything beforehand. And, staying open to just life. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But the last thing that I think that when I think about humility, right, um, is that nothing is done alone. Okay, so no idea that we've ever had really kind of came from us, and that might be a weird sentence to say, but um, here's my evidence. Um, any job that you've had existed before you did, or it existed because of somebody else, right? Um, these needs were already there. You're just kind of filling a void. There's it's kind of like playing an instrument. Okay, so not only did someone have to make the instrument and make the strings and the trees, they depend on the sun, and the water and the sun depends on its own independent thing. The water depends on its own independent thing. And all those things had to move just to make the guitar, right? And then the strings, and then all the stuff, and then it evolved, right? Um, Now I'm not saying that, there wasn't a person that originally had, like, oh, a guitar, you know, um, or a stringed instrument or whatever, But I am saying that, nothing was done alone. And I guess what I'm really trying to say here is that we've always learned from watching others, right? Or watching people that have done this before, that have, um, mastered the craft. You know, we kind of build on the backs of them, right? Um, like I don't know, you can just think there's all kinds of examples out in the world. Cars, sports, all of it. It all originated as one thing and then evolved because of people's love for it. Okay? So, um yeah, I think that, even with like this YouTube channel and stuff, like you shouldn't just be listening to me, right? I'm just one perspective, I'm just one guy, and not that I don't have anything to say about this subject, or I don't have any, value or anything, but um there's so many other people out there that are saying similar things and um, saying other things that might, you know, help you directly, a little bit more than what I am, right? So we're always kind of learning from other people. And with that being said, I wanted to point out a good modern day example of what I think humility looks like. Um, and that is Cat Williams. I think anybody that knows me knows that I love Cat Williams. Um, I think he's like the greatest comedian. Uh, but anyway, he was on a talk show not that long ago, and I think that's where he really shines at is these times where he's on these talk shows. And I pulled a quote from it. I'll leave a link in the description where you can find that podcast so you can uh, kind of see where I'm talking about. It's more towards the end, but they're talking about um, his generosity, right? Like his charity, what he's done with his money and what have you. And he said something that really struck me, so I wrote it down, and this is what he said. There is nothing for me to be proud of. These are God's people. This is God's money. He made sure I he make sure I got it. Part of the reason he makes sure I got so much of it is because of what I do with it. And that couldn't be more of the truth. That guy, he is doing the most with it. He's really trying, in my opinion, in his own way, to create heaven on earth. And um, it may not seem like it. You may not agree with that, and that's okay. We don't have to agree on everything. But I think that heaven on earth is the point. And we can't do that if we're constantly walking around with this self centered mindset. And, um, if you want to read some more on this topic, I think a good place to read would be Swedenborg's Heaven and Hell. He explains there that the angels there, right, that are living in heaven, they really, they are not, they don't want to be the center of attention at all. It all goes to God. And I think that's so important to look at in our lives because I really feel like, we create heaven here. We create heaven or we create hell here. And I think it's a choice that we all got to make. And staying humble is a key component of that. And if you made it this far into the video, I want to thank you. And I want to tell you how much that you mean to me. Um, I really don't feel like this is just my channel. This is a channel for everybody. Um, so, uh, with that being said, if you would like to be a guest on the show, leave a comment. If you'd like to draw some artwork for the show, again, leave a comment, drop me an email. Um, you guys can look me up on social media. I'm pretty active on Facebook. Um, I'm trying to, get across to more. I do have Instagram and all that. I think you can find all that stuff in my description. on my YouTube channel. Um, yeah, you guys are so beautiful, and I hope that you have an amazing day. And I hope that I said something or moved you in some kind of way, or maybe just reassured you in what you was already kind of thinking. And yeah, I just want to be useful here. I just want to be useful to everybody. So again, I love you guys, and thank you for watching the Kingdom Within podcast. And until next time.